Yo, 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 yo. Yo, yo. What's good with it, man? It's the homie MACK. Music, art, culture, knowledge. Each one teach one piece of love. Thumbs up, give me the likes. Thumbs up, give me the likes. If you have yet to do so, click that like button. Hit the notification bell so you can be updated on all the material that we got here at MACK TV. Reporting live from the Dogon. Yeah, some of y'all, make sure you're still subscribed because there's been some flim flam going on. Make sure you're still subscribed, and by flim flam, people being removed that are following me. So yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscription bell, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, ding, and make sure you're tapped in. That you tapped in what we got going on over here at 82 Kings MACK TV. You know, it's all love, it's all the same. Yeah, so this is another session of MACK Minutes. I want to talk about a conversation that took place, well, a debate that took place between Malcolm X and Bayard Rustin. I don't think Malcolm X needs much of an introduction. People are very familiar with him. Bayard Rustin, on the other hand, I kind of want to give you guys a context for who he, not kind of, I want to give you a context for who he was. Let's see. I am just gonna go to my notes. I was gonna try to freestyle it. Let me go to my notes. Bayard Rustin. Give me 1 second. Bayard Rustin was a civil rights activist and also an organizer. He actually helped Martin. I want to say he was the head over the March on Washington. He pretty much quarterbacked that whole situation. He was a key figure in the civil rights movement. To keep it a stack with you, the reason why we don't really hear a lot about Bayard Rustin is because he was openly gay. He was an openly gay black man in the civil rights era. So that's, I mean, one strike against you, you're black. Another strike against you, you're gay. That's kind of, it's tough. And I'm not making light of anything, I'm just saying. Like, people, it's a double whammy. He played a significant role in the organizing of the 1963 March on Washington for jobs and freedom. Let's see, despite being gay, he fought for all marginalized people. He did not just say, you know, I'm LGBTQ plus A. Forgive me if I didn't get that right. I just feel like that order changes. But anyway, he was born March 17th, 1912 in Westchester, Pennsylvania. He attended several colleges. He actually was a member of Omega Psi Phi. He attended Wilberforce, Cheney State Teachers College, City College of New York. Yeah, he had a journey academically. Brilliant man, brilliant mind. Yeah, this MACK Minutes again is I just want to make sure I'm elucidating everything. This MACK Minutes is a recap on the conversation, the debate between Malcolm X and Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin, I like the way he posed his questions. I like how he would pontificate. I liked his intellectual process. I think he's a brilliant man. I can't say enough about Malcolm. But believe it or not, I am not biased in this discussion. But let's get to it. I can't recall necessarily where this debate took place or the date or anything like that. Obviously, it took place in the 60s during the civil rights era. The question the question that pretty much was the center of the debate was, you know, what is good for Negro people, black people? Malcolm, how do you advocate for so-called Negroes? Bayard Rustin, Mr. Rustin, how do you advocate for black people? What does liberation look like? I took a lot of notes. I listened to this dialogue a couple times. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull up my notes, man. Okay, so in a broader sense, just to make it simple, Bayard Rustin was an advocate, obviously, for integration. Malcolm X was like, I am totally about separation. Malcolm X speaks of brotherhood, saying essentially, during this debate, he said, I don't believe in integration, but I believe in brotherhood. And I think it's hypocritical for us to think that a bunch of white people who are forced by the government to acknowledge us as their brothers, or to acknowledge us as, giving us equity, that they would treat us as such. Because they're not doing it on their own. They're not doing it on their own volition. They're doing it because the government told them to do it. And I thought it was beautiful the way Malcolm said it. He was like, look, man, like, I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not well received and wanted. These white folks don't want to be with us. Cool. All I'm saying is let us live separately, peacefully. Let us live because we know Tulsa happened, 1921, Black Wall Street, we knew that happened, but let us live separate and peacefully from y'all. We will not mess with y'all. Let us create our own distribution centers, our own manufacturing places, our own economic epicenter, and farms, everything, so we can be totally self-sufficient and self-determined. The question, it got to the point where Bayard was pretty much like, so what do you think black people should do? Should we, basically, essentially what you're advocating for is for black people to live separately, but you're not necessarily a Garveyite. You're not saying we need to go any and everywhere. You're willing to live separate amongst white people in America. I like the way that Bayard posed his questions. I thought he was very analytical. Bayard pretty much was an advocate for a slow grind, as he put it. We will use the courts, we will use the laws, we will use the systems to slowly let us become integrated. And Malcolm X's counter to that was like, you're going to be integrated into what? You think these white folks are going to let y'all make money in their system amongst them? You think these white people are going to let you just peacefully live amongst them? White people historically have shown us, from Jim Crow, from Reconstruction era to Jim Crow, Black Code laws, they cannot live peacefully amongst us. Hence is why we want to live separate. It's not about us being racist or black supremacists or even black nationalists. The thing that I thought was really interesting is Malcolm said, look, there needs to be a moral reform. Moral reform as far as how black men, how we interact with our women, as far as how we carry ourselves, drug usage, alcoholism, violence amongst one another. There needs to be a moral reform amongst ourselves to right these wrongs. And black people, we need to take pride about who we are and love and respect who we are enough to realize we don't want to be integrated into something that does not love us. One of the things that Malcolm kept saying was like, look, Mr. Rustin, we built America. America became an economic superpower from 310 years of black labor with no overhead. Mississippi made cotton king. There was no overhead for black toil, for black production, for a black slave workforce. There was no payment. It was free labor. And on top of that, I thought Malcolm brought up a really good point. He said, look, the Indians, y'all disenfranchised them, made laws, cut them out, totally made them third-class citizens. And now you guys are giving them land, because this country is giving them land and giving reparations, making right for the wrongs done to Indians. And he's saying, look, we need reparations as black Americans. ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, black people, black Americans. We are owed reparations. Not only are we owed reparations, we're owed the right to have our own sense of pride and dignity, to be human, to be full citizens. Bayard Rustin kept talking about what did he say? He said something about, I'm advocating for our recognition as full citizens. As our citizenship needs to be recognized. So Bayard and Malcolm X agreed on that. But I think Malcolm was pretty much saying like, look, you begging to be a part of that system is not going to make them want to recognize you as a first-class citizen. I think the thing that's so dope about the civil rights era is that the thing that was so dope about the civil rights era, there were not these identity politics. We all black. I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're straight, I don't care if you live in Mississippi, I don't care if you live in Brooklyn, New York, you're black. I don't care if you went to Howard, I don't care if you're dropped out of school in 3rd grade, you're black. So our blackness is what makes us confluence and come together and be identified. Our blackness, not our identity politics. What else? I like how Bayard posed a really good point. He was like, so pretty much you're advocating for a peaceful existence separate from white America. And he was saying this kind of, basically, I think Bayard was playing devil's advocate. He was saying basically you want to live like an apartheid. You want to have an apartheid. And Malcolm would counter to that was like, look, we don't want an apartheid system. Yeah, white folks that went to South Africa, told these Africans where they were going to be, took it over and regulated the economics, the politics, everything, all things social. We're not advocating for that, so we don't want an apartheid system. We want to live separate from them because they've shown white folks have consistently shown us that they cannot be agreeable, that they're disagreeable, that we cannot live in concert with them peacefully, not because of us, because of their doing. And then I like how Bayard brought up, okay, so basically you want to be like Moses. And Malcolm X was like, yeah, I mean, Moses was a separatist. But the thing that Malcolm said was the problem is we have a lot of people, just like how the children of Israel were, where I can't live separate from Pharaoh. Pharaoh was my daddy. Read the story of Exodus. Even when the children of Israel were liberated, they still were arguing against Moses. Oh, you separated us from Pharaoh so he could kill us and we're gonna die in the wilderness. And Malcolm X was saying, like, essentially, that mindset, that paradigm, it subsists today. And what else did he say? He said, and this is from that speech, he said, from this debate, Malcolm X said, 100 years from now, black people will still be begging to be free. When was this? This debate happened in, I want to say probably 63, 64. It's 2023. I feel like it's kind of prophetic. But no, one of the things that Malcolm X said was like, but just like how, he said, what did Malcolm say? Malcolm said Pharaoh never told Moses, he said Pharaoh always dealt with Moses directly. And then he said Pharaoh would use magicians and all these other people to distract the children of Israel or somehow to make Moses look like he was crazy. And in that Malcolm X made a parallel between Moses and Elijah Muhammad. How Elijah Muhammad was like, look, we can live separately, let's do our thing. But there still was black people who had this fear, like, I can't live separate from white people. We need to be around good white folks. We can't do this on our own. And the whole time Elijah Muhammad was like, no, we can't. But also Malcolm X mentioned the magicians, and he was saying how the distraction, just how Pharaoh used magicians on Moses to distract Moses and the children of Israel. He also said how white liberals use black people, whether it be Martin Luther King Jr., all these people who are talking about integration and let's get beat upside the head and we shall overcome. He said he felt like they were using them to distract black people from freedom and self-determination. I thought that was a fair assessment and parallel. Let's see. Malcolm X said Moses and the children of Israel, they are parallel to the African Americans on American soil and having a slave mentality, again, having a fear that we can't live separate because we can't thrive. Malcolm said again, Moses advocated for separation, that Moses was saying, no, we can live separate from Pharaoh. And just as Moses said we can live separate from Pharaoh, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying we can live separate from white people. Malcolm X makes a pretty interesting point. He was saying like this is not about religion. No, he was saying this is not about nationalism and politics. It's about morality, and that we need to have a spiritual, a moral and spiritual sense of reality from God. And essentially, he was saying that yeah, when it comes to land, there are political dynamics that come into play. But understand, the main thing we're talking about is moral reformation, a moral and spiritual revolution where black people are becoming their best and highest self. I'm going to put a link to this debate in the discussion, in the comment section. Shout out to Brother Malcolm. Shout out to Bayard Rustin. Yeah, man. I feel like this was a polarizing discourse, but at the same time, I think if you're really tuned in, you're realizing we're fighting for the same thing, but our methodology is what delineates us from one another. And we think we're fighting against each other. We really need to try to figure out how can we find a synthesis on all the fronts that we want to fight and all the ways we want. No. We need to find a synthesis on the different methods we want to use to fight. Fight white supremacy. Malcolm X mentioned white supremacy throughout throughout their debate. I feel like Bayard Rustin was more about we can trust the system, we can lean on the system, we can do that because we're outnumbered. And Malcolm was just saying like, look, if we're waiting for white folks to save us, that's not going to suffice. We need to be self-determined. But I think in Bayard, I feel like Bayard was just saying like, look, let's hold them accountable to what they say. If you say freedom, justice, equality, that these courts and justice and all that is going to give us the freedom we want, let's hold them to that. But I feel like Malcolm X is saying like, well, look, they've been lying to you. So what you gonna hold them to? But anyway, I've been ruminating over some things. A lot going on. Each one teach one. Peace and love. Tap in.